Welcome to another issue of NZV8TV. I've just got back from Manfeild where the first round of the Central Muscle Cars was held. Awesome V8 action. Paul Stubber came over from Australia and wiped the floor again in his wicked 70 Camaro. 780 horse NASCAR engine pulling 9 grand. Unbelievable. Makes all the others look like turtles. So question of the week, Shelby Daytona Coupe. Built in limited numbers between 64 and 65. How many were actually built and what are they worth today? Answer at the end of the show. NZV8TV is brought to you by Smiths Group, bringing you trusted brands for over 30 years, in association with NAC Insurance, specialised insurance for modified and performance vehicles, and LG, life's good. This week's feature car, a wicked Cobra Daytona replica, 8 years in the build, what a beast. It's Mopar Mayhem at Meremere, as Mopar Club takes to the strip. The thundering sports sedans from the 80s. No mufflers, no rules. Where are they now? We uncover one in a shed near you. Cave dwellers, shall we call them anyway? A bit like myself, forever in the shed, tinkering with the car. And that's why they've survived, because when they stopped racing, I think they just pushed them a bit slowly back in the shed and did their family thing or whatever for the next 20 years. And now they've got time to tinker again and bring them out again. It's unbelievable. And 25 years ago, cars like this brought the crowds to their feet.
Back to Baypark at Mount Maunganui, and all set very soon, I believe, for a start in the sports sedans. Here's Tony Palmer.
I'm sure a lot of the people have come through the gate to see one of the races today, the next on the card, the first of the Quick Pick Sports Sedan. Lots of interesting machinery. One of the intriguing cars down there is Ian Algie's Alfetta, and it's got an enormous V8 motor stuck right where you would normally expect to have the gearbox and sit to drive, and he sits right in the back. They're on the grid now. Graham Booth is with them. Let's get a word.
Well, this would certainly have to be one of the most outlandish cars in the race. It must be pretty traumatic driving from the back seat with something like 550 horsepower sitting in front of you here.
Yeah, when I first started driving it was a little bit of a problem, but I've learned to sort of overlook it and pretend that it's not there type of thing, you know. But it's not too bad.
And they're away. Oh, that's a good start. And Algie has taken the lead, just as we expected. What a brilliant start by Algie. Oh, they're going through the big sweeper now. This is a difficult corner, and he'll be coming out of it and down a long straight. I would imagine he'd be hitting about 155 mile an hour down this straight. At that speed, there's a lot of noise in the motor car. And coming through second, he's probably getting an easier run, and he may get closer, but will he get close enough? No, that's it. Algie has won the race.
Cross past the checkered flag, Ian Algie in the Alfetta Chaparral 5 litre. Wins from Steve Viggers in the Cortina Share 5.7, and third place to Don Brindley in the RX7 13B.
I don't know about you, but that coverage made the hairs on the back of my neck stand up. I was there in my stubbies. And what we have here is the ultimate Kiwi bloke shed. Barry Algie's wicked HT Monaro sports sedan, preserved in all its glory. XL Moffat Racing Cologne Capri. Not a V8, but sure gave some a big hurry up. And what's this in the back corner? The fabulous Algie Alfetta, part of Gordon Burr's fantastic collection.
The Alfetta I have fond memories of because it was such an unusual sort of a beast. And it was amazing that the following that it had in its day. You know, it had even beside the Algie family, which the Algies consisted of about 40 family members that used to support their crew. They used to crew it. But it had a huge following. That's the amazing part. This car has never been a road car. It was never plucked off the road and converted into a race car. The Algies went to extreme lengths. They bought the shell in '77. They went to Italy and they bought a bare shell off Alfa Romeo. That's their dedication. And I asked Ian, He said it was one of the best mechanical balanced cars of its era, with the gearbox in the back and the DD-on suspension, which it still all has, and it's all Alfa Romeo rear end. So they went to Italy and they bought the car. They couldn't afford to bring the car to New Zealand immediately. They were working with Can-Am 6 months a year, so they shipped it to Canada. That was their first step, if you like. And then the following year, they were able, after they finished the Can-Am series, they shipped it out to New Zealand, and that's why it took so long for them to build it. It took 3 years for them to build it before they got it on the circuit. What attracted me right from the word go, that it was an Alfa Romeo. And my past has always been mainly Italian marked cars, you know, so the Alfa Romeo struck me straight away. The motor racing rules of the time, the sports sedan rules stretched to their maximum like this car has. The whole series imploded once, I think, the racing legalities of the airmeans. I didn't experience it firsthand, not being involved, but from the way those stories go, is that they just all had a guts full and they put them away in their sheds. It's just the workmanship, aircraft type, the steering, the suspension, you know, they made it all. All they bought really was an Alfa Romeo gearbox and a rear end diff, but everything else is self-created. And the thing is just like on rails, you know, I only experienced about 6 or 8 laps during last summer with it. There's just no room in the front for a start. The impression, you'd think it would be a very weird experience, but it's not. It is, it's fantastic, obviously, lining up left-hand corners, but I didn't find it at all as odd as what you'd think looking at it.
The Alfetta 5 litre with the 5,000cc Chaparral motor. Chaparral is a name you may have heard of in connection with Indianapolis racing. Makers of very, very high performance V8 motors, 5 and 6 litres.
Grant Brennan of Tauranga had the original engine, but the block had blown a hole in the side. And so I bought all the original injection and the heads and the cam and everything from Grant. So I've had Barry Algie, the brother of Ian, reassemble that engine. So it's basically a 302, a 5 litre, built to the Chaparral, but it has the original aluminium heads.
Osborne, Freak, Willis, Algie. And Algie looking for a way past Willis. Better speed in a straight line. At the end of the start, finish straight. So that's Algie up to third. They're probably approaching 160 odd miles an hour at the end of the straights on this circuit.
Ian Algie snuck up there too underneath Roger Freeth.
I wonder if Freeth is...
There's still a lot of people that want to experience and see them. And even the ones that didn't experience them in their day, I'm sure even today they would be pretty pleased.
What a race this has been. Now Algie having dropped back just a little. He made up ground very quickly. Freeth having another go at him, but Algie holds on.
And thank goodness for top blokes like Gordon Burr, for preserving motorsport legends like the Capri, the Monaro and the awesome Alfetta.
Really has been superb racing up front. That's where the race has been, despite the dices further back in the field. You really can't go away from the front. Ian Algie does as he sits...
And wouldn't it be great to see these weapons racing again? Rumour has it that that's exactly what's happening, as these good old boys are tinkering away in their sheds, getting these beasts up and running.
Than Roger Freeth. The car-to-weight ratio is about the same on both. This has been a super sports sedan over the years.
Just going by Jennifer Mossman there in that console. So this is it coming down to the checkered flag now, Ian Algie.
And there's a bit of oil on that circuit. But it's Ian Algie. Algie takes out the checkered flag.
Johnny Osborne getting up for second, and there's Rob Kennard up for third with Brett Willis in fourth.
But Ian Algie in the...
This may sound sad, but I can name just about every car and driver in this coverage. Can you? Sports sedans. Legendary. Drag Combat. NZV8 versus NZ Performance Car Magazine Drag Combat is on December 5th at Meremere. NAC Insurance has an awesome free double pass offer for all new policyholders. Simply visit nac.co.nz for all the info. Let's go to Mopar Mayhem at Meremere.
Mark Peacock, Whangarei. originally registered in Kuwait, but it come out of England because when I pulled the bits, it had English coins under the carpet. So it's a Plymouth Barracuda 67, factory right-hand drive. It's a 340 and it's been stroked to 417 cubic inch.
What a grouse cooter.
I'm Andrew Webster, living in the North Shore. It's a 63 Dodge two-door, running 440 cube V8, 727 trans, 13.6 at 104 is its best ET, so not too bad for a big heavy car, but yeah, it's just a street car.
Just a street car? Yeah, right.
Everybody can have a Ford Mustang or a Camaro, but not everybody can have a Mopar because, hey, they weren't that popular when they were brand new, and now they're really popular because people want them, but there's all of them around. So it's a Valiant, really, but we're calling it a Dart because the main body shell is stamped out in the States, but pulled out all the Australian pieces on the front. I'm just here doing a couple of exhibition runs and just trying things out. We just had to put the motor back in the other week. And so far it's only been to the Telstra Event Centre for a bit of a show and shine there. So today we'll go through the gears, just make sure everything's working. So when we come back here next weekend for the test and tune, we know we can lean on it hard and sort of see what it does.
Flying the flag for the Confederation of West Auckland. And good on you, Paul, for sharing your smoke. Mopars come in all shapes and sizes, and colours. Mellow yellow, dude.
Mark from Auckland. It's a little baby Dodge pickup truck, little Dodge Dakota RT. There's not a lot of them here. It's kind of cool. It's just got a 360 V8 in it, fuel injected from fat. It's all stock. Yeah. So it goes alright, but do you want me to line up, mate?
Go for it.
Cheers, mate.
Mopars come in all shapes and sizes. Mopar Mayhem kicks it up a gear later in the show. Coming up, our Maguire's feature car, the Shelby Daytona Coupe. And we wrap up Mopar Mayhem. This is NZV8TV.